Off the coast of Ghana lies a cursed island, feared by locals, forgotten by maps. They call it Abonsam Kayan, the devil's doorstep. No one dares approach. Beneath its rocky surface, hidden in a flooded cavern, dwells Neon, an ancient spirit older than time, cloaked in deception. Some call him an angel, others a demon, but all who meet him are never the same. His whispers have shaped prophets, kings, and beasts. And tonight, he waits for another.
I am Neon Ruler beneath the waves, giver of prophets, presidents, musicians. Serve me. They wear my red breech with my pod behind. Their puppets. Jesus. A weak lamb. I demand sacrifice, blood, silence, loyalty, and in return I give crowds, miracles, and fame. Your God makes promises. I give results. They bow to him in public, but whisper my name in.
Mark moved through the empty terminal like a ghost among the living, each step pulling him deeper into the void. He had prayed for presence, but not for power. Yet power called him anyway, promising greatness at an unspoken cost. The gates closed behind him, not just to Entebbe, but to the truth he once served. He clutched his Bible as if it were a lifeline, but the words held no comfort in the storm-racked cabin. Lightning flashed beyond the window, nature's silent witness to his internal tempest. With every flicker, his faith trembled. For Mark, heaven had gone quiet, and only the storm remained. He tried to pray, but heaven was already silent. A storm was rising, within and without, and so Mark left the familiar behind to meet the power that would transform his ministry, or consume his soul. The land of gold had a hidden secret, and Mark was about to meet it. The journey had brought him to a quiet shore under a storm-churned sky, the point of no return. Ghana's reputation for gold masked a darker truth, some riches came with blood. Tonight, at this lonely edge between ocean and land, Mark would meet power beyond prayer, power that whispered to the ambitious. SUV's headlights cut through rain, illuminating four figures in crimson robes, silent sentinels at the threshold of Neon's realm. No words were spoken, they offered nods, ritual symbols marked on their foreheads. Their presence radiated purpose, prosperity, power, dominion. He had only his heartbeat drowning out the thunder. They led him forward, the living line drawing him toward an unseen altar. Each step felt prophetic. He had come seeking power for ministry, but here, on this wild shore, he realized he stood before a kingdom far older and far darker than any church. And as the men chanted softly, the rain turned to ash. Beneath this cavern's dripping ceiling lies Neon's domain, where saltwater meets sacrilege, and bones mark the cost of ambition. The red glow from the altar flickers like a heartbeat, pulsing with ancient hunger. Seaweed curtains shift, revealing Neon, the creature equal parts prayer and poison, smoothing his voice as if spoken through baptismal waters. He welcomes the desperate, promises them anointment. Solomon summoned him once, and power met obedience. But this is not salvation. This is butter, flesh for favor, blood for voice, obedience for elevation.
Do not fear. Markheim from heaven, sent by the Most High to raise his prophets.
It is here, in this drowned sanctum, that Neon reveals how true power is seized.
The Bible says,
Even Solomon's summoned me. Power must be wielded, not begged for. Your God withholds, I give.
what do you want?
Mark's eyes flicker between faith and despair as Neon reveals the terms.
Monthly intimacy with your mother. Through madness apart. Throw a red cloth for your mantle. Obey and you shall rise.
My mother?
Beneath the ocean's weight and the altar's light, heaven meets horror.
Sleep with your mother or perish. Obedience brings glory.
Mark waited in the emptiness, thighs hollow, shoulders wide. His suitcase now held dark trappings, a report, a red cloth, a forbidden book. Each item pulsed with promise and peril. Ghana stood behind him, Uganda lay ahead, but neither offered sanctuary. The world saw a preacher's return, he carried a covenant sealed in blood. He suspected power might follow, but at what price? He would soon discover that the hardest sermons are preached in secret and that true darkness travels inside. Mark returned to Uganda, a changed man. His eyes, once filled with hope, now carried shadows. In the quiet of his bedroom, he unzipped the suitcase, its contents no longer objects, but covenants.
Barnok el Trazamedwin Tarbel Toran Jelek Nur Marzashat.
Soon, the pot found its place, hidden behind the pulpit, consecrated not with oil, but with whispered enchantments that chilled the air.
Talmora Vexin Drata.
And then, the transformation began. Clad in the red cloth, Mark ascended the altar, not with humility, but with unseen forces pulsing through his voice. The crowds came in thousands. They screamed, fell, trembled, not knowing the fire they touched was borrowed from darkness. What they saw was power. What they worshipped was a lie. And what Mark had become was no longer fully a man, but a vessel of something ancient and hungry. In the quiet of his home, the consequences showed. Mama Grace, once a pillar of calm, became unmoored, her soul battered by unseen forces. The house no longer offered sanctuary, it became a battleground.
The blood cleanses, but whose blood?
Mark watched his mother, Mama Grace, whose gentle faith once sustained him. Now, her eyes recited scriptures in broken echoes. She whispered of wings and stars with trembling clarity. The Bible trembled in her voice, but not with hope.
Mark, you never told me you had wings.
It was fear resonating through broken devotion. He heard the words she didn't speak, the bond he refused, the darkness he invited. And in her haunting melody, Mark recognized his own fallen tune.
They said I prayed too loud. But now, the stairs talk, yo me.
And at its center, Mark's ambition began devouring the home he once loved.
To whoever finds this, I failed. I chose darkness. I let ambition make me a beast. I cannot touch my own mother. I would rather die.
With shaking hands, he scribbled guilt onto paper, a final confession to witness his soul unraveling. The ticking clock echoed like a judgment bell.
No, I obeyed. I wore the cloth. I preached.
In that dim light, reality pressed in. Mark realized bargains with darkness aren't bargains, they're endings. Obedience is the only currency heaven and hell understand. And both sides will cash in when the faithful stop asking and start obeying.
They preach with power. But whose power do they preach with? Another prophet suddenly.